Right guys, welcome back. Right, so we're going to make another pinch pot. Now don't worry, this will be the last pinch pot we make for a while, because I know some of you want to make something different or see something different. So what we're going to do, we're going to make sort of a tea caddy. So what you need to do, get one of these blocks of clay, and we're going to use about 1/3 of a block, and then when you get your block nice and square, you're going to cut off about 3/4, well, 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch slice of one side. That's about 1/2 inch. Right, and then we're just going to put this to one side for now. Cover it with a baby wipe, a wet one, just to stop it from drying out too quickly, and we'll pop that up there out of the way and not forget it's there. Right, so you end up with your nice block. Now we're going to condition this just by patting it and loving it and patting it and hugging it and petting it and loving it and squeezing it and hugging it, and it will eventually become nice and conditioned and ready for use. So just give it a good... Right, so what we're basically going to do is we're going to create a round pot which with a flat bottom, which we are then going to turn square. But it'll still have a round neck, and then we'll make a lid to go on the top. Right, so get my glasses off so I can actually focus a little bit further away. Right, so right. Now the trick is you've got to keep it moving all the time. All the time you're pressing in and squeezing and pinching, you've got to keep it moving. Otherwise it will become lopsided. That is one of the basic things about pinch pots. Unless of course you want to make a lopsided pot. But anyway, right, so here we go. Now we're doing a 2-thumb squeeze to start us off, to get us going until we're about 1 inch from the bottom. But again, keep it moving all the time while slightly enlarging the hole, because at the moment we're going down, we're not going out. Right, so we're about a little bit more. So we'll just go down a little bit further and round, smooth it off in the bottom. So we're about that far apart. That's fine. I mean, you could, if you wanted to, go a little bit further, but that extra depth will come as we're pinching. Right, so we're now going to go to a sideways pinch. But instead of drawing it out that way, we're going to draw it up. So I'm going to start on the bottom and just squeeze it. Now it sounds counterintuitive, because basically what you're doing is you're thinning out the bottom while keeping the... See how it's straight away you get the same sort of shape as we did with the trinket ball? But that's just your start point. We're aiming to produce a cylinder more than anything else. But because it's going to be a flat-bottomed, square jar, there are certain things we can do which we couldn't do before. Right, so we've got to that shape there. We're going to put it on the table, and we're just going to press down and turn. And then we're going to start squeezing with both hands, 2 or 3 fingers on the outside, thumb on the inside, thumb squeezing out towards the fingers. Not fingers in towards the thumb, thumb out towards the fingers. Until we get to the point where we're just about at now, where the walls of the pot are equally thick all the way around. But if you look, we've got a slight curve in over. We don't mind that. because we're going to do something with that later on. Now, at this point, I'm going to smooth out the bottom of the pot and squeeze the excess clay of the base into the wall. And while doing that, I'm going to push the wall at the bottom out slightly while pushing in with the fingers and smooth it out. Press it down in the middle if need be. The main point is to get it smooth and flat. See where we are? Yeah. Right, so now, again, we're going to push with the thumb, push down into the corner while turning it, and at the same time, lift the wall slightly. So you end up with it fat and thin at the bottom. Smooth out on the inside into the corner of the bottom. I push out and push down. It sounds funny, but you soon get the hang of it. Right, you see how we're starting to get the straighter walls now. Now at that point, we start coming up a little bit more. So we're coming up about half an inch from the base, from the bottom on the inside, and squeezing thumb out towards your fingers while turning it all at the same time. Now at this point you may have to pinch it in slightly to even out the top rim. Go backwards and forwards, whichever way you feel is the most comfortable, but the important part is to keep it turning so it stays even all the way around. Now, as I'm pushing in with the thumb towards the fingers, I'm also pressing down slightly on the outside, because we're building the wall out, but we're increasing the inside diameter while keeping the wall roughly the same sort of half-inch 10 to 13 millimeters thickness all the way around, because we haven't started building the wall up yet, so it's the same thickness. Right, so we're roughly, we're up to that second knuckle. So now we're going to make a more concerted effort to build. So we're going to go around once, squeezing and lifting, then come up half an inch, go around, squeezing and lifting, come up a quarter of an inch, half an inch, go around, squeezing and lifting. Get to the top, squeeze and lift. Right, so we're just going to consolidate that shape. Go back down to the bottom, squeeze. Now you're not trying to push out, you're squeezing up, you're bringing the bottom up now. So even though you're squeezing together, try and get equal pressure on your finger and your thumb inside and out, and squeeze the clay up instead of out. And then come up a little bit on the inside, do the same again, keeping the pressure even, squeezing inside and out at the same time. Right, doing the same again. Now again, you might have to pinch a little bit as you go around to keep the clay even instead of it splaying out. Alright, so see how we're becoming more cylindrical? Now what I'm going to do now, I'll do it on this side, is I'm just going to squeeze up. See how it's coming up? So you're gently squeezing with the thumb against the fingers to bring the height of the pot up. And go back down, and you're pinching the top in on itself, which thickens the top edge while allowing it to stay straight. See, we'll come straight again. And we'll go around again, pinching up. Right, so let's pick it up again, and again. Now it's at this point you need to be aware if you've created any thin areas in the wall as you've been squeezing it up. And if it gets too thin in places, you may have to just call that a day in terms of height. Now I'm taking my thumb on the inside and just gently pulling and smoothing the clay up. Now you'll feel it distort under your fingers. Don't worry about that. You can always get that back. Don't forget we're making this square soon. So we just find where there's a thin spot and pinch it back in on itself, just to nip it up, to bring it back up to being a cylinder shaped rather than a V shaped, vase shaped. Going down and bringing it up with my thumb. See, now we're now almost full thumb depth, so we're not going to be going much further. This is about as high, well it isn't, it's as high as you can go comfortably making a pinch pot without having to employ other techniques like coiling over the top and things like that. So we're at about the sort of height you're going to get. Right, so there we go. See, we're at almost full fingers depth. So I'm just going to squeeze it and pinch it a little bit. And we're just going to do the last, find where the thick bits are, smooth them out, bring the clay up to the top. Finding the thick bits, smoothing them out with your thumb, drawing the clay up between your fingers, just gently squeezing, so you're pressing with that, I'm exaggerating this, so you're pressing in with your thumb and just drawing it up so you like that. Just drawing it slightly further up as you go, finding where the thick bits are, thinning that out and drawing it up. We're almost there, I think. Right, I'm just going to measure how far we are. Yep, I think we're there. So we're just going to round the bottom off. Make sure it's fairly squeezing a little bit to thicken the top rim. Right, so at this point we're just going to spin it round using our fingers underneath just to press in slightly and try and make that even all the way around. Right, so where are we? Now we need a tool now. There we are. Right, so we're going to put our hands inside. This will get it the right way around. It will sit flat on the table. And then you can just gently push the outside. You're just trying to make sure that it's as even as we can possibly get it in terms of verticality. Don't worry if it distorts, we're going to get that back in a minute. We're just trying to make sure that it's fairly vertical, cylindrical. That's the word we're looking for. We need it to be as cylindrical as possible. And it's a little bit skew width, but that's not too bad. We'll get that back in a minute. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to nip and turn. Nip and turn. Nip. So we're basically pushing the top edge of the clay back into itself to to create a lip and bring the top in. See how the top's narrowing slightly? So now we've got a lip forming. So we're just going to, as we turn it, bring it in a little bit further and thin it out at the same time. Similar to what we did with the sake bottle, only on a thicker scale, on a larger scale. Making sure you keep it as even as you can. I think we're about there. So now what I'm doing is I'm putting my thumb inside and then squeezing with the thumb while bringing the fingers back towards myself, just to bring that extra little bit of clay in towards the centre of what is going to become the neck. Because there is quite a bit of, and we're creating a shoulder on the inside and on the outside of the pot. And as soon as I get around, I'll show you what I mean. Keeping the thickness even all the way around. Nip it together. Now you see how we're creating a shoulder. I mean, it probably doesn't look too good at the moment. But that's what we're aiming for. So basically we're just, as we do the neck, the lip of the neck, we're just drawing it in, squeeze down with your fingers, push out with your thumb while squeezing up at the same time. Now I know it sounds a bit like patting your head and rubbing your tummy at the same time. And it can be a little bit sometimes, but you'll soon get the hang of it. And we're just trying to feel that the shoulder inside is even and that the neck is a similar height and a similar thickness all the way around. Now it's not going to be perfect at this stage. It is going to be one of those pots that you're going to finish, and when we decorate this, the idea I've got for the decoration, it's going to be quite high gloss, very colourful. So we are going to do a bit of finishing on the surface. Right, so we're almost ready to start squaring off. Now we're just going to define the neck and the shoulders. Just don't worry if it distorts. Just running around with the thumb. Yeah, I think we're there. Now you could, if you wanted to, just leave it at that. But we're not going to. Now there's a few things you can do here. You could stuff it full of tissue paper, and then that would support it inside. That's actually quite a good way to do it if you're feeling a little bit nervous about doing that. Just stuff it full, not overstuffed, just enough to support the sides. But what we're going to do is we're just going to start off with, and we're going to choose a corner inside, and we're going to bring our thumb up, and we're going to push. See how we've got a corner there? And we're going to do it the same on the opposite. Only we'll do that with our finger this time. And we're going to hold fingers like that and push out from the inside into your fingers. And we're going to go in the back, down in this corner, do the same again. And then this side. Right, so then we're going to pinch together, turn, pinch together. Don't press down. Press it either equally or bring it up slightly even. But don't press down onto it. We don't want to squish it. We're just aiming to create a squared off shape. Now the neck will look like it's distorting as you apply pressure to one side, and it is slightly, but if you notice, as you apply the pressure on the opposite side, the neck will come back into round. Right, so just press that in there. Right, there we go. So we're almost, see how we're coming square? Now we're just going to consolidate this corner, square it off, put our finger inside, and just sort of gently press out and nip at the same time. Like so. Turn it. Do the same again. Gently nipping and pressing. Turn. Nipping and pressing. Now the sides don't have to be perfectly flat to each other. I think that can actually add something to it. But at this point, just go inside and using your thumb more than anything else and your flat hand, the flat of your fingers, you're just going to gently push the side out into your hand. Because if you feel down the inside where you pinch the corners, you'll feel a ridge. So just gently push that out and straighten the edges out. Turn it, do the same again. Just gently pinching it out, pushing it out to flatten the sides off so you've got no pinch marks and gully marks on the outside. You can move the clay about with your finger, with your thumb. Turn it again, just gently feeling where the lumps and the bumps are, where the divots and the creases are, and just gently pushing them out to form flat sides. And we'll turn it again. See, on this one, it's a little bit thicker on this side, so I'm gently, with my thumb, working the clay back across this way. And at the same time, when I get to the corner, I'm just evening out the pinch marks that I made. Right, so now we're just going to gently using that shape of your hand just to nip everything up. Right, now right, we're almost square. So now what I'm going to do is settle it down, but I'm going to work down onto the base because there's quite a lot of clay there that we've pushed around, and we're not bothered about the corners. Keep the corners nice and neat and curved, but we're going to flatten the sides down onto the table while keeping that, and gently. Now, so what we're going to do now, we're going to redefine this neck and we're going to narrow it down a bit as well. So we're going to pinch together as we go around, which will narrow the neck and actually start to make the whole thing look a lot neater. Now don't worry about it being messy, because like I said, this project, I've got an idea for it to be highly decorated. So there will be quite a bit of finishing involved. Mainly sanding, but we're just nipping the sides in. Now it's getting to the point now where it's starting to dry out around the neck. I can feel it starting. So we're almost done actually. And we're just going to come around, put your finger inside.
Due to technical difficulties, the end of this video showing the making of a pinch pot lid is missing. Don't worry, it's just a pinch pot.